Hey up campers, welcome back to the channel. Right, if you watched my last video where I flew to Sleap, you'll remember that I had some radio problems. Golf, Charlie Mike, Papa X-ray, holding point, Foxtrot, ready for departure.
Traffic calling Sleap, that's carry away only.
Fuck's sake. Basically, the old Yaesu FTA-450 died. In fact, when we got back to the airfield here, I couldn't pick up any transmissions at all. This was completely dead. Interestingly, though, it seems to have started working again, so I don't know why. If there's any radio aficionados or boffins watching, if you can leave me a comment below, what would cause a radio to stop working completely and then start working again? Could it be that these overheated? It was very hot. Anyway, leave me a comment if you've any idea why that might be. So, suffice it to say, I don't trust this radio anymore, so I've spoken with Giles, who knows a lot about this sort of stuff. I've also spoken with Ben at Flexwing, and the plan is that I'm going to change the radio. First of all, I've bought a FTA-450 radio, which is a bit of an upgrade from the 250. Again, Yaesu. So I've got a new radio, and rather than rely on the rubber mounted aerial, which is what I've done so far, I've had this clipped to my harness and relied on this rubber ducky aerial, and you can see the problems with that. Really, it's right close to me, so if I'm transmitting or trying to receive, particularly to a station that's behind me, straight away the signal's blocked because it's got to go through me. So we're doing away with that, and we're going to fit an external antenna. So I've bought a whip aerial, which is obviously a lot bigger now, despite what we might say to our partners or wives. Longer's got to be better, hasn't it? So I'm going to fit that, and in order to fit that, I've had to order this part from Ben at Flexwing. They make a purpose-made mounting plate for a whip aerial. I've added some silver foil to the underside of it because it needs that to form a ground plane. I don't know what that is and how it works. Anybody that does know, please feel free to stick that down below. And the plan is to fit this external aerial. Now, I thought whilst I'm hacking away at the front end, I might also as well fit the taller screen. So the Flexlight 9 trike comes with a much taller screen to the screen that's fitted to the peabee trikes, Adam trikes, and the bivy trike. The reason for that is if you've got a 9 wing, you're going through the air an awful lot faster. So taller screen just gives you that bit more protection. I thought while I'm hacking away at the front end, I might as well fit that as well. So that's what this video is all about. If you want any of these bits, particularly the radio stuff, the antenna, anything like that, Giles Fowler sells them on his website. I'll put a link to that down at the bottom. And obviously if you speak to Ben, he'll sort you out one of these as well. If you want to fit an external aerial, they'll fit the mounting plate, which is custom made to fit exactly. Right, let's get on with it. Right, so the way I'm going to tackle this, I think the first thing I'm going to do is take the screen off, which seems to be a fairly simple process. There's one bolt here at the top holding it on, and then there are 13 of these little Allen bolts with little nuts that I need to undo, and then the screen should pop off, and then we'll see what's underneath. We're halfway there, living on a prayer. Screenus separatus. Right, I just need to do some head scratching, look at the plate that Ben has provided to see how that fits in there. Does it replace this, or does this go over the top? I'm going to scratch my head and I'll get back to you.
Clear prop.
Just thought this would be a good opportunity though to show you the difference in size between the standard screen and the 9 trike screen size. You can see that's the standard screen there, that's the 9 screen. You can see there is quite a significant difference, so hopefully that'll stop me getting my head battered about in the wind flow. Right, giving it a coat of looking at, and it all seems fairly straightforward. It seems that, or I think that that bit is replaced by this bit. So that bit we get rid of, and this just goes straight on there. I was wondering if that goes on top, but I don't think it does because Ben's gone to the trouble of making the top of this look really pretty with this carbon effect, and why would he do that if it wasn't going to be on show? So I basically think that just goes straight in there. You can see it's got the hole pre-drilled for the whip aerial, I had to open this out a little bit. The hole was 12mm, but the whip aerial that I've got, if you get the microavionics whip aerial, then you need to open this out to 14mm. So jobs to do then. I need to fit the whip aerial to this plate. And then I need to move this bracket up because the new screen ends up here somewhere. So Ben's given me some new Velcro, some new cable ties. I just need to snip this off, move it up, put the new screen on and bolt it all together and then give it a test. Right, and that baby. Who's in there? Doing. This is going to be one of those things where I think you need 25 pairs of hands. What an absolute pig of a job. That wasn't supposed to happen. Are we recording? We are still recording. Right. Sit rep. Screen attached. Bottom there and top. I have got some adjustability in this bracket to get it up and down. Obviously if I have it too low down then this plate's going to be angled forward, which means the aerial is going to be pointing forward. So I think once I've got the aerial fitted I can mess around with this, move it up and down, and that should change the angle of the aerial. So all I've got to do now is attach this screen to this skirt at the bottom. So 13 bolts to tighten up, and I'm fighting the bend in this screen. So Mark Hilton at Microavionics did tell me that this was a pig of a job, so let's see. I wonder, might be an easy way of doing this, and I bet some of you have already been screaming at your tellies to say, why on earth are you doing it that way? Why don't I take this off completely? Ah, this is the way I should have done it all along, idiot. Why didn't I think of this before? I do find that I've got this inane skill set and ability. If there is a very, very difficult way of doing something, I will find it.
2 hours later.
Right, after a bit of a battle, I've got the screen fitted, but I've come across a problem. It doesn't matter what I do, I cannot get the screen to sit right, and I think I know what the problem is or what the issue is. If I give you a twizzle, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right, now the issue is I cannot get this screen to sit in such a position that the screen goes up high enough and this plate fits properly, and I think it's to do with these brackets, because I've tried twisting them forwards, backwards, and no matter what I do, these brackets are stopping this screen and this plate from sitting right. So I've sent a message to Ben just to say, are these brackets on the old trike, which these are, the same as the brackets on the new trike? I wouldn't be at all surprised if they're a bit shorter or angled differently. Anyway, we'll see what Ben says. It could be that I've just messed it up and done something wrong, so we'll see. To be continued.
Clear from.
Right, I'm back. Ben messaged me straight back and then phoned me. Just as an aside, if you buy a Flylight product and you have problems, they're absolutely amazing. They're on the end of the phone. Brilliant customer support. So anyway, quick plug for Flylight. Screen's fitted. Turns out I was doing it wrong. There's a bit of a knack to it. You've got to sort of hold this, squeeze that, push that, and pull that all at the same time. One of those things where if you had 3 pairs of hands, it'd be a lot easier. But anyway, we're done. Screen is fitted, and now for the magic moment. Oh, shiny. Still recording. Right, I've come outside for this next bit. What I need to do now is I need to drill a hole in this so that the aerial can poke out the top. Now, there's no way of doing any fancy measurements. The advice that I've had is eyeball it. So what I'm going to do is have a look from the top, think where a hole needs to be, mark it with a Sharpie, get my drill out and hope I've got it right. Right. Excuse my bottom. Thing is, this is a once only deal, so if you make a mistake, there's not a lot you can do about it. Oh, I wonder if there's a better way of doing this. Let me have a look. Right, I've come up with a better idea. Rather than eyeballing it and risking getting it wrong, what I'm going to do is I've taken the aerial part out of the mounting thing, which is just held with an Allen screw, and I'm going to get a drill bit, clamp that in, and where the drill bit touches the underside of the screen, that's where I need to drill my hole, isn't it? So where that screw is touching the screen, that's where I need to drill my hole. Which is good, because that is nowhere near the ones that I eyeballed. This is slightly nerve-wracking. Look at that. Hey, one aerial done. Hope it works. Stoke Golding traffic, Golf Charlie Mike Papa X-ray, taking off runway 26, Stoke Golding. So, got a bit of a squelch issue. Obviously picking up a lot of engine noise. I could probably squelch that out, but what I'm going to do is get up to a reasonable height before I start messing around with things. Right, so I've squelched out the engine noise. Let's just see if I can drop the squelch down a little bit more. Ray 134180.
Left turn 095, descend 3000 on 1024, Carjet 371.
That's East Midlands radar that I'm picking up, okay. Right, early observations then. It's still picking up engine noise, which I'd expect it to.
Yeah, 3712 there, track cloud. Future track cloud, Carjet 371.
That's acceptable though. That's East Midlands radar. Well, that's over farm traffic. Still picking up the engine noise. I don't know where over farm is. Let's try Birmingham. Birmingham 123980.
2947 is give way to the Eurowings A320 pulling on stand on taxi on point Delta 5.
So that's Birmingham. I'm picking up.
City 37 Bravo Delta, stand at 16, just down stand.
Emerald City 37 Bravo Delta, stand 16, start and stand approved.
Stand 16, down stand approved, Emerald City 37 Bravo Delta.
Stoke Golding traffic, Golf Charlie Mike Papa X-ray is inbound. 2 minutes to run to the overhead, Stoke Golding. Just a quick voiceover interruption before we land back at Stoke Golding. If you want to know a bit more about engine noise radio interference and how to get rid of it, then stay tuned, as I've just made a video showing a couple of things that you can do to your engine to help solve the problem. Secondly, when I did land back at the airfield, there were some RC flyers who were monitoring the airfield frequency, and they told me that my transmissions were loud and clear. So it seems the radio upgrades have made a huge difference. So a quick thanks again to Giles Fowler and Ben Ashman for your help.